Excellent. Okay. Good morning, everyone. We'll call to order at 7:30 a.m. If we just please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get started, we just need to officially the problems don't change. The problem, yeah, exactly. So, well, congratulations. All right. So, first item for recommended actions would be approval of minutes from May 7th, 2025. Jenny had provided them. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the May 7th meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori, seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, approval of minutes from the June 4th meeting. Moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by Mr. Lucy. Any questions, comments? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There is no old business. We're on to project administration, bid document release authorization, bid 25-0020, land appraisal peer review services for Tollgate. Steve, is this you?
I think this one.
This is John? Okay.
So as we talked about in previous meetings, we have that 1 acre area of land next to the Drum Rock building that's been federally assisted by the Land and Water Conservation Fund. We have to find a new home for it in the city. DEM requires us as part of this process to get a land appraisal done according to the federal land appraisal standards. We have done that. Step 2, we have to have that appraisal peer reviewed. So this RFP is for the peer review land appraisal. So that's approval.
Okay.
It's been released and we're expecting the bids today, I believe. So.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Bates on that? Okay. Hearing none, we're looking for a motion to approve the bid document release. Moved by Mr. Lucy. Seconded by Ms. Calori. Any further discussion?
Just say,
Yep.
we have a license to appraise. Second appraisal by a license appraiser.
Yeah.
It's process is unique.
Yeah. Agreed.
Everybody keeps each other honest. That's what they'll say.
Not about control.
Okay. All right. So hearing no other questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next, no bid reviews. Recommended awards. AAA mobile warehousing, TBD for high school projects.
I'll take this one.
Mr. Oliver.
This is for storage of athletic equipment that's housed in outbuildings at both high schools. At this point, we're probably going to end up eliminating the monthly rental of these containers because we found alternate space. This is just a temporary monthly payment until we can get these into storage facilities that we currently own. We're seeking your approval on this. What's that?
How long do you estimate?
Hopefully 2 months and then that's it.
Okay.
For both schools?
For both schools, correct.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Oliver on that? Seems pretty straightforward. All right. Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, B, Corel Systems for $12,750. Who's this?
This is me.
This is
Okay, I requested this proposal from Corel, who does our HVAC controls. This is to help control our systems, not only for the high schools, but throughout the district. We've had a lot of control issues, complaints. The biggest issue is when we get too close to the change of seasons where we need to adjust set points throughout the buildings. And to make this smooth and avoid a lot of trouble, it's $12,750 a year. I'd like to try it for a year and see how it goes. And this will encompass all of our buildings. So I seek your approval. I think it's money well spent. It's going to avoid a lot of costs as we move forward.
Any questions for Steve? Yeah.
Is that a flat fee for the year?
Yeah.
So no additional cost we made.
No, unless we go outside the parameters, but the parameters are pretty inclusive.
Any other? Okay. Someone's talking. Yeah, I'll just say, I think this is a good idea. I mean, in the past, something went wrong, we'd call Al's company, then we'd call John's company. So too many cooks in that kitchen. So,
The other thing it does is it includes retraining 4 times a year with our guys, which is huge. Yeah.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. I'll call the vote. All in favor of Corel Systems? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is Rhode Island Energy for $18,351.12.
Much to our chagrin, Rhode Island Energy is charging us $18,351.12 to do the disconnect of electrical power at the Drum Rock building. I haven't seen this before. However, they're not moving on it. We seek your approval.
Any questions for Steve on that?
You don't have any options, right?
I love it. They call it
I've tried.
they call it a customer's contribution. Like we're magnanimous. Yeah, oh, here you go.
I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that we're not going all electric in this building. I think if we're at Tollgate and Pilgrim, if we had been going all electric, they might have, that happened at Holloman. At Holloman, when we did the 11 poles and all the work that was involved there, they originally wanted to charge us $250K. And through negotiations, I got down to 50. We're not getting these guys to move on this one.
What else? The scope of the work.
The scope of the work is removal of transformer, pulling the leg back to the manhole, and removal of 3 telephone poles. So it is a substantial lift, so.
More than flipping a switch.
Yes.
Say
Say that again?
Is this the one
We have used all our chips to hopefully.
Yeah,
get this moving.
we're pushing it along as with everybody we know and every contact we have.
No, and I know my point is, if we're gonna pay $18,000, then they should do it when we want them to do it.
No, they do.
Doesn't work that
That's,
way.
no, it doesn't work that way.
Okay, I'll go back.
Yeah.
It's a utility. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Oliver and Mr. Goffler? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're now on to change order reports. Agenda item 4. Want to do this one at a time, Steve, or do you want to? They're all the same.
We can do them all at once.
We're all for the same issue.
Yeah,
so.
I'll give one explanation for all. When we did the pre-bid conference, I had asked Finance to attend the meeting. Finance could not attend the meeting, so I did the best I could explaining what the potential work would be for the interconnection of the door controls to the Verkada system. However, when Sinnet did come back out for the pre-construction meeting, the scope of work was much larger than I anticipated. There was more conduit, there were controllers that are gonna have to be purchased, which is gonna be separate from this. So even though in the bid documents, it said that the contractor was responsible for the electrical, the scope was not clear. And so we revisited and we took the total and divided it amongst the doors that are being controlled by Verkada at each school. And that's how we came to these totals. So we seek your approval for a total of $32,230. ADS does not put in change orders willy-nilly. They're very good about it. So Kevin and I have looked at this thoroughly. We agree with it. Seek your approval.
Questions for Steve on any of that? So you just divided the total by the number of doors
Per school,
and then,
right?
and then,
Right,
yeah.
right, and then multiply back out, right?
Okay. All right, hearing no questions, looking for motion to approve, items A through E, moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by, Mr. Enos. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, next is all board construction for $1,579.
When we turned the water back on at Holloman, we found a bad valve on a 2-inch line. So to drain the first of all, to find the valve and drain the system back down, clean up the mess, get everything back together was $1,579. was verified by both Mr. Calcagno and myself, and Mr. Oliver. We seek your approval.
Okay. Look for motion to approve Allborg for $1,579.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Valori, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item G, GZA Geo-Environmental for $8,000, Tollgate High School, please send them stuff.
I'll take this one. So our geotech engineers brought to our attention that if the plan cuts into the bedrock at Colgate, there's going to be the presence of groundwater that we will need to drain. So they're recommending strongly another drainage system at the fields and under the new building and under the parking lots. This proposal is for $8,000 to do that design work. We are recommending approval at $8,000, but we will continue to push back for that to be a lower number as we go forward, because we think that there's a case to be made that they should have captured this as part of their base scope. So in order to keep this moving forward, we'd like to approve the 8,000, but we're going to push back on the amount, make that lower.
I talked to GZA on this, and this also will help with the water problem we have down at Windman. That is draining off that bedrock and heading down and hitting the backside of Windman and causing a problem that, as Mr. Oliver has dealt with for the past 10 years. An issue in the elevator shaft, constant flooding. So we think this is it's needed.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Bates? I do have a question, John. So we're pushing back on the 8,000, or once the design is done, I'm assuming once the design's done, this wasn't in the original scope of the work, right? So there's going to be a cost for that.
It'll result in a change order.
Right.
So our contention is that, to pay for the design, I think there's a case to be made. There's negotiating there. So.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And the current project is that's or
Yeah, that kind of adds to our case, right?
Yeah.
The work was, from what I understand, done and then removed. So can they just reintroduce the work that was done and call it a day? So.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's better off to fight it than to wait to see how it comes up. I want to stop. Okay. All right. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve GZA for $8,000. Moved by Mr. Enos. Second.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Calori. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is SOM Architecture, WSP for $6,951.
So this is an additional service for structural design, and this is an owner-directed request. This is to accommodate a larger gym. In fact, they didn't enlarge the actual volume of the gym, but they restructured it so that we could contain a larger court. But the modifications to the design were for gravity and lateral force resisting changes. So it's done on T&M, 29 hours total for 3 people. We find just under $7,000 to be fair and reasonable. We recommend approval.
Questions for?
Well, I can expound a little further on it. They had to open up one end of the gym, take away some storage space, and create another carrying beam. So yeah, and this was requested by the
School committee.
school committee chair. So we were directed to give larger courts, and this is the result of that. We did not have to do this at Tollgate, but we had to do it at Tollgate.
Questions for Mr. Bates or Mr. Gothberg on this? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve SOM for $6,951. Moved by Mr. Holmes.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item, tie and bond, item I for $85,000. This was an emergency approval, and Mr. Gothberg will explain.
So
I think, or Mr. Bates.
it
Sorry.
seems like every month we're approving a new service for tie and bond, and it's true, we are. So to take a step back, and we previously approved an $18,500 ad service, and that was for When we found out about the soils issue, as part of the phase 2 analysis, we had to do a public meeting. We had to go through a notification process with DEM and associated documents that go along with that. And so that's what that was for. This $85,000 is for the implementation of the site investigation work plan. So that includes 38 new soil borings, that includes additional groundwater testing. They sampled the data, they've done the analysis, and they're developing the site investigation report, which is going to get submitted to DEM hopefully this Friday. It has to get submitted this Friday. We couldn't include this amount, this 85,000, in the previous ad service because we didn't know the scope of the site investigation until DEM could approve it, right? Otherwise, we would have done it a month ago. So therefore, we bring this 85,000 before you. It's already been approved on an emergency basis to keep improving. And their total contract amount, just in case they're interested now, is $238,000.
How's that against budget?
What's that?
How is that against our budget? Is that over, under?
Well, we still have a contingency in soft costs to carry, to cover it, so.
What did this concentrate the new wells? What, 10 new wells?
Yeah, approximately 10, and they were spread across the site. The good news is the preliminary findings, they didn't, are good, right? They didn't find any new hotspots. There's just still that one location just north of the building where they found that vinyl chloride. No other wells tested hot, and no other additional hotspots for PAHs either. So good news from the reporting standpoint.
Who decided on the scope of how many wells? Who decides that?
Ty and Bond, it's Ty and Bond's recommendation.
Let's self-deal. We can't all of it.
They're the best to do it. They're the professional engineer that knows the DEM requirements. Typically, these environmental engineers do an inspection on site, and based on what they find, best practice is to then expand the investigation area to the extent that they find it. We only got one hot well though.
Yeah.
So why we're looking for more?
But they have to do a sample size to satisfy the state, right? I mean, you can't just say, no, I only want to test in this one spot and that's it. The state's going to tell them to do, no, we want a widespread sample size.
What they're trying to do is locate the source of the contamination that they found at that one hotspot, because they could not tell if it was coming from an old septic system or other locations around the building. So they had to go and they had to do what they had to do to find and see if there were additional contamination.
But that said, I mean, the owner does have some ability to push back on the quantity. I mean, the initial RFP requested a much larger sample size for the phase 2. Took a look at it and said, no, we don't need them. So, the ultimate price for the phase 2 analysis was lower.
And this mimics exactly what we've seen at other projects with different consultants providing the same service.
The last thing we want is DEM continue asking for more, and then it just keeps
Delaying. I mean, if we had done one and then they wanted 20 more, we had to go back and redo it, and we'd be another 2 months behind. I don't know if that, as far as I know, we have no more surprises, but every month we're surprised. So.
As of today, I expect that $230,000 will be, will cap out our fee for Ty and Bond, but with like Steve said, every day seems to reveal a new surprise from DEM. So
does that include the second meeting that's requested?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we found out there's another meeting, another public meeting that DEM wants that we didn't know about before. Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Bates? Okay.
Yeah.
Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve Ty and Bond for $85,000. So moved by Mr. Enos, second? I'll second. Any more questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, consent payment authorizations. AAA, we can do A, B, and C. AAA mobile warehousing, high school projects. These are the storage containers. right?
We had to bring him on site, yeah.
Right, so it's, three items totaling $1,916.50. Looking for a motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos and Mr. McCaffrey. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All board construction, item D, we're going to table that for the next meeting. So we'll move on to item E. Application number 9 for Allborg, totaling $159,118,000.
This is not the final,
Right, this is not, I'm sorry, this is not a final. It's pending item D4F approval.
which was that change order.
Okay, so are we're taking action on this one, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what is it for? Oh,
It's, application number 9.
okay, all right, I'm sorry. Yep, okay.
Okay.
So looking for motion to approve Allborg application number 9, moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any questions for Steve?
Just as a note, it's change orders of 2.1%, so not bad on this project.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item, items F through I, BBG Inc., Land Appraisal Services, and the total of $9,500. Looking for a motion to approve items F through I. So moved by Mr. Enos, second. Seconded by Mr. McCaffrey and Mr. Holmes. All right, any questions for Steve? This is what we discussed earlier.
That's right.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, BRA Consulting Engineers, High School Projects, bid 24-0014, and the total amount of $7,880.
Monthly billing for, our commissioning agent, continuing to service, the project in the design phase. And, they're about 78% complete in both cases for their design phase services. Keep in mind that the majority of their scope is in the construction phase and the post occupancy phase. So on the whole, they're only about 15% of being through their current billing. I mean, through their current contract amount. But in any case, they continue to service the project and we recommend it.
Okay. Looking for a motion to approve items J and K for $7,800. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any more questions for Mr. Bates? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is Columbus Door. Items L and M totaling $6,932, both Holloman.
These are for cylinders and cores that are proprietary to the district through our Everest key system. So we buy them directly and we seek your approval.
And this was we approved this change order last
Right,
month, right?
right.
Yeah, okay. All right, so looking for motions to approve items L and M totaling $6,932. So moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, items N and O. Take these separately. Dimeo Construction, High School Projects Bid Construction Management. Application 11 for $126,060.17. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey, second. Seconded by Mr. Lucy and Mr. Enos. Any questions for anyone? Dimeo? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item O, $718,776.30. Togiat High School. Motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Mr. Enos. Any questions for Dimeo on
Can I
Yeah.
just ask about that?
Yeah.
Why is that so much more expensive? Is it because of,
They've actually started construction. And
Okay.
so when you start construction, the builder's risk policy goes into effect, you have to pay upfront, so that's. Pilgrim will have a big bill once we actually put a shovel.
oh, no, I'm not complaining.
Oh, no.
I just wanted to know, but thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, items P through S, ECM, building envelope projects, totaling $2,265.
This is part of the work that ECM is doing for hazardous materials testing at the door projects for this summer.
Looking for a motion to approve ECM items P through S. Moved by Mr. Enos, second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lucy. Any questions for Mr. Gothenberg? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, item T, FW Web, $5,699.03. Emergency approval, Mr. Gothenberg, I think.
Okay, what we did here was, in review on the final walkthrough at Holloman, looking at, some of the plumbing items, we found that, the ADA work had been done 3 years earlier. Some of the toilets were less than great shape. So rather than pay Allborg to do the work and pay $20,000, we would buy the materials outright and have our plumbers do it, and they were agreeable to do it. And it saved about $15,000. So we seek your approval.
Okay. Any questions for Steve? Thank you. Moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by Ms. Calori. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, items U through X, GZA Geoenvironmental, totaling $14,398.11.
Items U and X are for construction phase services for the geotech. That includes kickoff meetings and site visits. Items B and W are for the radon mitigation system design for both buildings.
Okay. Any questions for left field or anyone on those? All right, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve GZA items U through X. So moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by Ms. Calori. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item Y, left field, high school projects bid, $110,000. This is for June of 25 OPM services.
They are earning their money and then some. That's all I can say.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori, seconded by Mr. Enos. Any more questions? Any further questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item Z, Rhode Island Department of Health, Cedar Hill envelope, $150. Looking for a motion to approve.
We gotta do it.
Moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Calori. Mr. Gothenberg? Any? Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, items AA and BB, SOM Architecture. Totaling $318,842.75. This is for Pilgrim May 25 design services and June 2025 services. Looking for a motion to approve those two. So moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Mr. Enos. Questions for left field or Mr. McCaffrey?
What percentage do they pay at this point?
60, but just over 60%, I believe, 65%. And the majority of their scope is in the design phase. So it would make sense that their billings will drop off a bit, their monthly billings will drop off a bit. So even though they're 3/4 of the way through their contract amount, it's in line with where they should be. The first round, the May services was for design services, design bidding services. They still have a balance of just under $4,000 for design. And then the 123 for June is for construction-based services. So that's submittal reviews, shop drawing reviews, RFIs, responses, and that also includes that ad service for the structural engineer that we approved a few minutes ago.
Thank you. Any other questions for left field? Okay, hearing none. Did I remove this? Did I move this, Jenny, or no? So, okay, looking for a motion to approve SOM for $318,842.
So
So
moved.
moved by Ms. Calori, seconded by Mr. Enos. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Sakosha and Associates, items CC through JJ, totaling $12,945.53. Looking for a motion to approve all of them. Move to approve. Moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by Mr. Kravitz. Any questions for Sakosha or Stephen, any of those individual projects? 3 of them are final payments. Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, item KK, Sakosha and Associates, for Tollgate High School Design Services for June, $472,560. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Holmes, second,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lucy. Any questions for Mr. Sakosha?
What percentage is Sakosha?
About the same. They're actually at 69%.
Any other questions for Leffield? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, items LL through WW. All Stephen Turner ride required commissioning services. I'd be looking for a motion to approve all of them for $7,958. Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any questions for Mr. Gothberg or anyone? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, Signet bid, low voltage contractor in $7,499. Looking for a motion to approve. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey, second.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Glory and Mr. Lucy. Questions for Mr. Gothberg on this? What is this for? Just the
For all the interconnection.
wall of Holland?
Yeah, Fred Holloman connecting all the doors, making sure everything works properly.
Okay. Any further questions for Steve? Okay, hearing none. Call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, the paint shop, item YY for $257. Looking for a motion to approve. Second,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Calori. Steve, this is for paint.
No, this is for, we found that, every nor'easter we have, at Holloman, water was being driven through the brick
Open beach.
above the main entrance. So to stop it and quit the finger pointing, we purchased the material to spray on, and our roofer slash painter applied it. It seems to have worked.
Oh, you
We
mean
did the
open
same
beach.
thing. We did the same thing at Greenwood, and it solved the problem. So basically, we bought the material to seal the brick, and maintenance applied it.
That's been moved and seconded, right, Jenny? This one? Yeah, okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right, next, item ZZ, tie and bond, high school projects bid, environmental engineering assessment for $109,247.31. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Calori, second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Enos. Questions for left field? Or John, just a quick
Just
explanation.
related to the 85,000.
Yeah, so-
Yeah,
Beat me to
so this covers the phase 2 investigation. This also covers part of the Colgate arsenic study that we've had to do. Remember what that was about? And it also covers part of the Pilgrim DEM soils issue, right? The public meeting, development of the site investigation work plan. So with this payment, this would put them at 53% of the total contract. That's including what we just approved. So they've done the work. This also includes not just time bonds time, but their driller, all the associated equipment rentals that goes along with the drilling,
Sample testing.
sample testing.
Any other questions for? All right, hearing none, it's been moved and seconded, just call the vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, item AAA, wow. WB Mason, Holland renovation, first and final payment, $209,258.80.
This is for all the bookshelves and counters that are going on in throughout the building. Seek your approval.
Second.
Oh, I think we moved and seconded already, didn't we, Jen? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, moved by Ms. Nina, sorry, seconded by Ms. Calori. Any further questions for Steve? All right, so we replaced all of them throughout the building?
It's just like at Sherman and Oakland Beach.
Yeah.
All those, because what happened was all the heating elements were behind the bookshelves. The bookshelving all had to come out, heating
Yeah,
elements.
I remember that now.
And it just dresses up the building.
All right, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last item, BBB, Wally Computer Association, $1,166.66.
As part of, Jen, is this your, Jen's computer? Jen's computer died, and we approved earlier the purchase of it. So Jen can now continue to work. So
If we vote no,
approval would
we
be
take it away.
appreciated.
We send it back.
So,
All right, moved by Ms. Gloria, seconded by Mr. McCaffrey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Before we get to new business, I just want to say that the old bonds, the $40 and $56 million bonds that we've been doing for all the non-high school stuff. Jenny did a quick analysis on that a couple of weeks ago, and on the $40 million bond, between what we've spent, we're off by $17.88. And on the second bond, the bond two, $56 million, so far we're off by 76 cents. So,
I apologize.
yeah, well, the point is, I mean, it's been, to Jenny's credit, it's been a struggle, right? Because with coordinating this office and the finance department, and everything else. So we're doing a lot of that tracking on a manual basis, so, but I'm sure we'll change some of that stuff. But I just, people want to know sometimes, and it's, we're not squandering stuff here. That's not how we operate.
If I can add, the work that Ms. French has done has been extremely difficult. She's done a great job. She tracks daily. Last night, she worked an additional 4 hours at home. I mean, she just keeps going to make sure everything's aligned the way it should be. We can't thank her enough.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen.
excellent.
Okay, now on to new business discussion. Capital and construction project update per Mr. Gothberg.
Okay, Holloman is, I think we just have a fire alarm inspection we're waiting on. We're wrapping up the bookshelves. The doors are, can we summon trouble with the doors, or we have a couple doors that are still not
Still
working?
have a few doors that are,
Yeah, we've had a couple issues with the doors. Part of it was they tried a new supplier, and we won't be using them again, just put it that way. They tried to save a few dollars and it just didn't work. So they're working hard to get that done. Oakland Beach, we had a power surge at Oakland Beach, which caused condensation within the kindergarten area of the building. Once again, we had water. We've ticked off the teacher. However, it was not anything to do with installation, craftsmanship, or anything else. It was strictly a power surge that we had difficulty locating the cartridge fuse that caused the problem. Once we did that, we took care of that, but that's the other reason I wanted to go with that $12,000 service by Corel, which would help us immensely. The door projects are moving on very, very well. We have all the frames are in. Doors, where we pulled the doors and the frames, they're plywooded up, blocked off. We still have access to the building in other areas, but right now it looks like we will be done by the opening of school. They have accelerated the delivery of the storefronts. They're going to be arriving mid-August, so we should be able to get those all installed before school starts. We'll know better at the August meeting, but it looks pretty good. That, Kevin, you have any?
So all the projects are winding down now, right? So yeah. All right. Any questions for Steve on anything?
Yeah, the other thing we did, reimbursement has been, for the first time since I've been here, all our reimbursement documents to RIDE have made it by the proper date. Today's the deadline. I got them in yesterday. Thanks to Mr. Enos for his hard work getting me the information that I had not been able to get before. Thank you. Thank you, Billy Trimble. Very happy.
Cool. All right. All right. So next, new business item discussion, high school project update per left field.
So quick update, we have a draft GMP for the Pilgrim project. That left field's kind of reviewing. We plan to bring it before the committee, the next meeting cycle in August. Tollgate's GMP will probably follow the following month of September. With Pilgrim construction, we're waiting on, of course, the soils issue. It looks like DEM is going to allow us to do a short-term response action plan, which basically means that we can phase out soil remediation, concentrating first on the new building area, and then we can address the rest of the site at a later date. And we're targeting, if all goes according to plan, August 18th as the construction start date at Pilgrim. As you folks know, Tollgate has already started their mobilization and construction process. They've cleared the trees. They've completed hazmat abatement at the Drum Rock building. Rock blasting starts on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's the update.
Should I wear my hard hat in my office?
Yeah.
Just in case. Tape your windows like a hurricane's coming. Any other questions for?
I would just like to get into a discussion related to approval or authorization
Right.
of changes.
Yep, you're one step ahead of me, Matt. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so that's all set on the high school update?
Yeah.
All right. The next thing we're gonna roll in as part of the high school update is way back when last year, when we first started the approval process, the approval on the high schools, we had talked about we would establish a subcommittee, right, to handle change orders and things like that. Okay, we never had to exercise it because the project wasn't at that point. So when Mr. Enos came on board, and then Left Field reached out, because they wanted to know how we're going to handle these things. So we had a meeting with Mr. Enos, Left Field, Dimeo, our attorney, Steve,
School committee chair.
yeah, school committee chair. The subcommittee concept isn't the best way to go about it. So what it is, and I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna try not to, but then you guys can explain it in better detail. So there's a weekly meeting, right? It's an OAC. It's
Owners, architect, contractors meeting.
right. So there are some issues that may come up that may require a change order that have nothing to do with the design of the building. So we had asked Mr. Enos when he was on East Providence, how did they do that? And they met weekly, and they would just approve, go ahead and make those changes. Anything that relates to design would have to go through the normal process anyway, come before the building committee, go before the school committee. But this is a way to make the flowing of the project more efficient, because we can't get bogged down. We meet once a month. And, so if there's a change that has to happen in the field, we can't stop and wait for the next building committee meeting. We're not going to call emergency building committee meetings for that. And it's still within the scope of the project, and it's not a design change. Well, that's all I'm gonna say. I'll leave it to whoever else wants to.
Matt,
So
Matt,
Ron, you covered very well. So these are for changes that need to happen. But when we say changes, it's changes to their contract value or changes within their budget line items within the GMP. So we get to an agreed upon GMP and agreed upon contract value. At that stage, there are construction contingency or CM contingency. There are allowances and there are holds. Dimeo has a requirement to present to Warwick allowance draws, because with an allowance, the risk is on the owner's side, not the contractor's side. So they need our approval to use those funds. We are going through a contract language on the value threshold for a contingency draw. And any holds that's on their side, they can use that. That's within their trade line items. But anything that's outside of that, so above and beyond, they're committed to contract value. If it's needed for an emergency, let's just say during the course of the blasting, we find that we need additional vibration monitors throughout the site. That prior to everyone agreed upon the quantity, but now getting into the site, we found that there's more rock over on this side, so we need to put a few over there. We need authorization to install 4 more, but we need to do it this week. So that's not a change to the design. That's not going to change the way the building looks, but that's not something they already own under contract. So they would ask at the weekly owner architect contractor meeting, do we have your approval to move forward with this scope of work and the Saturday course? And at that case, we would say, yes, you do have approval. So that's the committing to situation. The funding would not happen until it comes through this committee. And then their contract value would officially be updated based on this committee's approval. But there will be cases where we bring to this committee, we had to make an emergency approval for additional vibration monitors. They've already been installed, they're already working, they owe this money. We cannot, as a committee, go back on that. So there'll be those cases, and we'll note it as emergency approval, similar to a few of these other changes. As Mr. Testa said, that any design change, anything that's going to change the way the building looks, will come through the formal approval process, which will come through these articles.
and anything that is not emergency will come through.
Yeah. So we had 2 meetings on it because when our attorney, Because if you're gonna have a subcommittee and you have agendas posted and everything else, there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do with Secretary of State and everything else. And we've asked Craig, we asked Left Field, even Dimio, what the standard procedure is this, because this is new to us. And this is pretty much how these kinds of projects go. So, the meetings are once a month. I'm invited, Steve, Kevin, once a week, I'm sorry. Mr. Enos is invited, Mr. McCaffrey, Mr. Aller, Mr. Goffberg, me, because the school committee chair wanted to have a representative of the building committee and the school committee. And since it's once a week, my schedule is a little more flexible than his. So, and again, there could be some meetings where there's nothing going on, and that's fine. So the meetings will be structured, this will come up ahead of time. And then any changes that have happened from those meetings will be reported out in the normal update for the project here, and then the normal update for the project to the school committee. So, you're the owner's project manager, right? So there's a level of responsibility that rests on you guys, right? To protect our interests. So, I don't have a reason not to trust this process. So, and Mr. Enos has contributed a lot in his experience in East Providence. So, we did request that he be on that meeting. It's just another thing he needs to do, in addition to the 175,000 other things. So, welcome.
7 years.
Yeah.
Overseas, yeah.
Yeah. So,
What is?
yeah. So that's part of the update. Any questions on that? Any?
Just one other comment. So these emergency kind of authorizations, they will trail off after we are up out of the ground. So when we're in the ground and we're excavating, we're doing site work, getting into foundations, there are unknowns because it's under the ground and we can't put eyes on it. As we get out of that stage, these will be they'll be sporadic, at best, if anything. There may be slight detail changes as we get into framing and in-wall MEP, and those are all things that we'll handle as kind of one-offs. But what we typically see is as we come out of the ground, these emergency kind of have to happen.
So Matt, let me ask you this. If there's an instance, once we're out of the ground, and you mentioned MEP, what if you guys came across something and you realize, we can save a lot of money if we just did it this way, right? Is that something you always see would
So
do,
in that
or
case, we always see
the cost of going the other way?
the OEC would be the venue to present that to the architect. For the architect to then present to the engineer. They would then review the suggested change. So if we have one of our left field MEP specialists on site and he observes something in the field or is looking at the drawings and sees that there might be a better way, we then have to have a design or engineering discussion. And if the architect and or engineer are in agreement with a change, then they would issue a design update. Then Dimio will then price that design update, and then that would come to this committee. That wouldn't be an emergency.
Okay, all right.
Emergency type of approval.
Okay. Any other questions? Yep, Mr. DeCote.
Former state, just don't forget the age, Jack.
I was going to say that. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Next items are action items. Discussion action, approval of Tollgate 60% construction document right submission for left field.
An old design checkpoint to drive the Tollgate project. Documents are ready. We're preparing a presentation. It's gonna look a lot like the one Mr. William gave you folks, I think it was last month. We seek your approval to proceed with that.
This is the change that had the CTC change, the entryways, the sight lines.
Exactly.
So that just formalizes that. And we've seen that. Okay. All right. So looking for a motion to approve the Tollgate 60%. Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second. Any other questions for left field? Yeah, hearing none. Yes.
That welding design incorporated that too? Is that outside of that? There's a discussion on the welding boots and things of that nature. Is that outside of that?
No, I think the only thing we need is a letter from you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I think that's all we need, is a
Okay.
letter from you so that the consultant is comfortable.
Okay.
All right. So no one has been moved and seconded yet, right? I apologize for not keeping track of all this. All right. So looking for motion to approve the Tollgate. It was moved by Mr. Lucy. Wasn't it, Jen? Moved by Armin? Was moved by Mr. Lucy and seconded by? And Mr. Okay, thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, discussion action, approval of Dimeo Pilgrim Electrical recommendations per left field.
I'll take this item off and I'll keep it up to public hearing. But we got one bid for this trade. It's Rossi Electric, $22,300,000. Only one bid. We took a hard look at the team that rebidding this work. But we concluded that it would have a schedule impact if we were delay getting the site on board. We'd also be competing if we were to rebid it with the homemade project. A lot of the bidders that we sort of try to solicit interest from would say, you can't bid on both projects, we can only do one. So there's also the chance that we lose Rossi. So those things in mind, our recommendation would be to proceed with this one bid. We have had conversations already with Rossi about ways to potentially reduce that number. We think it's about $1 to $1.2 million worth of scope that could either be reallocated into the owner's soft cost, bought direct by the owner, and save a substantial amount of money there. And there's some other BD items that they've suggested. So there's potential for savings to shave that number down if we proceed with them. And I think that it'd be worth maybe talking a little bit about the bidding climate at the time of this to explain why we had them so little participation.
Yeah, obviously Rhode Island has a lot of work going on currently. If you look at the big picture historically, it's more active than I've ever seen in my 20 years of doing this. At the time when this electrical package went out, there was a handful of larger projects around the state that were coming to an end and wrapping up. With that, the other two at the time major electrical companies, Arden and Claudette, were both actively trying to wrap up some crash landing projects and decided that it wasn't in their best interest to put their eggs into a $20+ million package at that point in time. We have spoken to them as well as worked with the building trades to reach out to some additional companies from out of state to bring them down and try to get them licensed in a manner to get them interested in the other projects coming down the pipeline. With that said, we do have confirmation from Austro and McDonald that they're going to be bidding on the tollgate project as well. And we believe Arden will be interested in Claudette. It's pretty large projects for a lot of these companies. A $20+ million electrical package is not a small piece of work to handle for a lot of companies in our small state. So at the time this went out to bid, there was a lot going on in the market. When we look at the overall number, I struggle a little bit with the process of individualizing each one of the bid packages and looking at it in that avenue, since the big picture aspect, it's a lot of peaks and valleys. Right now, we're trending in a good direction. When you look at the electrical number being $2 million over budget, take that into consideration with the rest of it. We're actually trying to be under budget by over $1 million across the board. So I try to, and when you look at the, obviously when we look at a value of this size and seeing that it's over budget, we want to understand what happened, why. So we did run through that exercise. We've identified almost $3.4 million worth of scope that was not captured or added in to the project when the time we were budgeting it. And with that, as John alluded to, we've also identified a little bit of $1.1 million that we could possibly pull out as far as the BD exercise in this package as well.
How many companies did you solicit to look at this project?
Any other questions for? Yeah.
Additional scope, what was that about?
So I wouldn't really think additional scope is probably not the right term. Some items, for instance, is, the security low voltage safety packages, they were listed as kind of budgetary because they weren't fully designed. We added about $1.5 million on top of what we had original budget for what was actually designed. There's definitely ways that we could pull some of that design back. One item is the cost for a 10-year subscription system for the security platform. Is that really necessary to buy at this point in time, or is that something that should be discussed with, school and the long-term maintenance and that side of things. We've got other things like, fire alarm system is currently sole sourced. We definitely want to try to get that out of the proprietary world and open it up. And if we can get that work through with the engineers, we can definitely pull that back a little bit. So there's definitely, you know, things that were not fully accounted for at that point in time.
So Dan, wouldn't we do that first before proceeding with Rossi officially? When we work these out ahead of time or no?
What we're gonna do is work with Rossi to drive the number down, right? So it'll be basically deduct change orders to Rossi's contract versus holding off on. The big push that we have right now is getting the underground coordination moving and the BIM coordination process, so we don't slow down in the construction timeline.
Might take the reason you got one bid is because of a PLA. That's basically, and to award one contractor an award, it just doesn't seem competitive enough.
So we have had that conversation as well. And when we step back and look at, I'll say, even the non-union companies out there, there's really only probably two in the area that could handle a project of this size.
Yeah, Wayne Griffin would be one of them.
Yep. And then Interstate. And even with Interstate, it's a little bit of a stretch for a project of this size. And then if you're going to run into the same problem, right? If you went with a non-PLA and let's say Interstate did come in low, you're only going to get Wayne on the next one. We'll have no competition at all. Right. So that's part of the challenge with that as well.
Any other questions for left field or Dimeo on this one? Yeah, this one came in over by $4.2 million. I understand it. I mean, obviously, you always want to go the other way, but okay. If no other questions, I'm looking for a motion to approve Rossi on the Pilgrim Electrical recommendation.
So
Moved by Ms. Calori, second by Mr. Enos. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Opposed. One opposed, Mr. Lucy. Motion carries 7-1, 8-1. Okay. Next, item number 5, discussion action approval of Dimeo Pilgrim Mechanical Plumbing Fire Protection Services.
All three trades would go to Delta in this case for a total of $16,147,443. For fire protection, we had a total of 5 bidders, including Delta, Aaron Arden, Cogswell, Boston, Springfield, Boston. Yeah, Boston Fire. For plumbing, we had Delta, Zarella, and Arden. And for mechanical, we had Delta, Peregrine, Arden, and Zarella, all participating. We had a budget of over 23 million for this. As Dan mentioned earlier, that's a total savings for all three trades of over $7 million.
See, so that's what we're saying. I'd like to look at the electric gas and solar, because big picture wise, we're doing well. It's just
That makes up for the previous one.
Any questions for left field on this one? Okay, hearing on, looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Holmes, second by Mr. Enos. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next one, item number 6, approval of Pilgrim Masonry recommendation for left field.
5 bidders for masonry, commercial masonry, NER, Spino Brothers, Capasso, and Grande Masonry. The low bidder being commercial masonry at $5,520,600. Bid savings of just over.
It's over.
Over by just
by $1 million. Yep.
Peaks and valleys, as we've been saying.
Yep. Questions for left field on the masonry? All right, hearing none, motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Enos, seconded by Mr. Lucy. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next one, item 7, approval of Pilgrim Metal Studs drywall recommendations per left field.
5 bidders, Tavares, H. Carr and Sons, Clifford and Galvin Century is England finish. The low bidder being Tavares, $8,794,152. Bid savings of $462,000. Recommended Tavares.
Questions?
They are an MDE contractor as well.
Okay. All right, any questions for left field? Hearing none, looking for motion to approve. Thank you. Moved by Mr. Enos, second, seconded by Mr. Holmes. Any further questions?
What's the experience with working with this contractor in the past?
We've got a lot of experience with them. They just finished the Tidewater Stadium with us.
Feel confident?
What they do is they really target one large job at a time and put all their focus on it, right? They'll do a few smaller jobs around the state, but this will be their one large project for probably the next 1.5 to 2 years.
They probably won't bid on.
They're reasonable in their workload there. They understand this is not going to consume them for the next couple of years, so.
That won't affect any of the other bidders
No,
in any way.
no. I mean, it will make some of the MDE goals a little more challenging. Tollgate, because that is a pretty large dollar value to check off the box in that world, but beyond that, it wouldn't affect any of the other bidders.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next one, approval of Dimeo Pilgrim storefront glazing and panels recommendation.
6 contractors submitted bids: JK Glass, AEG, Massey Plate Glass, A&A Windows, Sunrise Records, Picasso Enterprises. The low bid is JK Glass, $5,123,400. Bid savings of just over $1 million. We recommend approval to JK Glass.
Questions for left field? Okay, hearing none, looking for motion to approve JK Glass. Moved by Ms. Calori, second. Seconded by Mr. Enos. Any further questions? And hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Just for quick back of the envelope math, those 5 bids in total came in 3.2 million under. Added to the other bids that we've already had, those are 3.5 million under. So right now it's about 6, by my math, it's about 6.7 million under.
We want to caution the committee though.
Yes.
You know, we can say increase and valid is the response. So
I know.
come, GMP time, I don't want anyone to be shocked that this doesn't, these bid savings that we're seeing here doesn't translate into something more significant than it was going to be.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to raise any false hopes at all. It's just,
right.
I never said it was a, concrete movement here. It's just,
Right.
some trended up, some trended down. Overall, we're trending down. Take advantage of that anywhere we can, right? So, okay. All right, this stage of the meeting, public comment. If anybody, yes, sir.
I'm Anthony Chairman, Executive Director at Builder I believe I've met most of you, but I'm here. So for those who don't know, Builder is the labor management coalition between the contract management and building trades. Just on the electrical package itself, I want to echo Dan's comments about peaks and valleys in terms of bidding process. More quickly on Interstate itself. Interstate actually chose to bid on Bristol Warren and not this one. So it shows that a lot of electrical bidding was happening at the same time. BF Norton up in Cumberland, Bristol Warren, this one, Tollgate coming down the pike. So it is a restrictive personnel who can kind of bid on this project. And if Wayne Griffin wanted to choose in this, he could have done that in himself. PLA about it. PLA cannot legally restrict who can bid on this project. It's their own business decisions that are being and as Dan already said, we already have confirmation of 3 to 5 bidders that have bid on Tollgate. And so we feel confident that we will engage as much as possible, not just electrical, but throughout this entire project. So we'll look at the apartments throughout this entire thing. That's why you signed the PLA. That's why we making sure that this project gets done in a time. So
You just state,
as much as possible.
just state your name one more time, just I want to make sure Jenny got your name.
Anthony Cherry,
Oh.
CHERRY. I didn't realize I had a name tag, but I
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
Good job, Johnny.
Okay. All right. Committee member requests for future consideration. You know how you can reach out to us. Next meeting date is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. At this point, no other business. Looking for motion to adjourn. So moved by Mr. Holmes, second by Mr. Lucy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.
All 5 minutes.
Not bad. Stop recording. How do I stop the recording, Jenny?
I think.
Somebody said something.
I'll leave it. Can I
Yes.
leave now?